Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special video. I've only had my channel for a little bit more than 9 months, and I can't believe that we've already hit 5k subscribers. The fact that 5,000 people decided to subscribe to my channel because they like my content and the things I have to say is honestly hard to comprehend. That's 2 times the amount of people that went to my high school. I can't imagine just the visual representation of that many people, and as a way of saying thanks, I'm gonna answer as many of your questions as possible. I did a little community tab where I asked people to comment the questions that they wanted me to answer, and I know not everybody saw it, so I'm sorry if you didn't get the opportunity to ask me a question, but hopefully any questions that you did have are answered in this video. But if they weren't, comment them down below and chances are I'll reply. Once again, just thank you all so much, and without further ado, let's get into the questions. I'm gonna separate this into like 3 different segments. One is gonna be personal questions, the second one is gonna be non-K-pop related questions, and finally we'll do K-pop related ones. So yeah, let's get into the personal questions, and the first one is, where are you from and what's your age? So I'm from the west coast of the United States, and it's kind of funny, I have bleached blonde hair to kind of represent that. It's originally a dark brown or a black, and you can see that because my roots have grown out quite a bit. However, for the most part, I have like surfer boy bleached blonde hair. And for the other part of the question, I am 18 years old. I'm gonna turn 19 in late April, which is, dang, that's kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I'm 18 going on 19 and I'm from the west coast. So going off that, the next question is, have you ever been to Disneyland or Disney World? And the answer is no to Disney World, but yes to Disneyland. I'm pretty into big roller coasters, and funny story, I'm a screamer when it comes to amusement parks. And one time I lost my voice for a week, if not more, because I was just being so loud, and it was funny, but it was also like, I'm not gonna do that again. Another travel related question I got is, what other countries would you like to visit / live in? And I have a few answers. So my top 3 answers are actually, I feel like, a little bit surprising, and number 3 is I just want to visit Korea. I'm not sure if I want to live there. Since I'm super into K-pop, obviously, I think it would be cool to just go maybe 1 or 2 times. And then in terms of places that I'd want to live, my top 2 are Canada and New Zealand in that order. I'm a relatively peaceful person, I'd say, and from what I've seen, those 2 countries feel like they'd really fit me. I love going on hikes and walks, and the nature in both of those countries seems so beautiful. However, it seems as if the weather in New Zealand is not as extreme and is a little bit more consistent, and even though it's in sort of a remote, obsolete part of the world, that's kind of what draws me to it, and I feel like things would just be a lot less stressful there. So next up we have, would you rather visit the past or the future, and why? And honestly, I don't really know if I'd want to visit either. From my point of view, I already know what happened in the past, so going there seems boring, and everybody's been talking about how awful the world is gonna look like in the future in terms of like environmental things, and it just seems like I'd rather stay in the present. Okay, now we've got what superpowers would you want to have, and my main one is invisibility. I'm not entirely sure what I'd want to do with it, but the idea of being able to disappear and reappear out of thin air seems pretty fun. Now we have what song most represents you and why, and my answer for that is Screwed by Janelle Monáe featuring Zoe Kravitz. The overall laid-back energy it has is something that I really relate to, and the idea of like, the world is already ending, so let's make the most of it while we can, is something that I sort of like to live by, and it's very inspiring. So that wraps up all of the personal questions, and now we're gonna move on to like general non-K-pop related ones. So the first question for this category is, do you write a script for your videos? And the answer is no. However, I did used to. For my first 50 maybe last videos, I wrote a script for every single one of them. However, nowadays, instead of writing out every single thing that I say, I like to write down bullet points. For example, in my The Best Comeback of Each Month in 2021 video, I literally just listed all of the songs in a Google document, just so that I would remember what I'm talking about, and besides that, I would speak off the top of my head. If I'm doing commentary on music, I'll usually be listening to the song that I'm talking about while I'm talking about it, and I'll kind of like create a sentence or 2 in my head, record myself saying it, and then rinse and repeat until I feel like I've come to a natural conclusion. And then the same person asked, how do you have a smooth, stable voice while recording, and how do you avoid background noise? And my answer for the first half of that is that I have a mic stand and I keep my body the same distance from the mic at all times so that the audio levels are consistent. And in order to avoid background noise, I usually just record at a quiet time of the day. You know, I'll make sure that the washing machine isn't running or that the air conditioner isn't going too hard. And I also have 2 mic guards, one that goes over the mic itself and one of those like attachable ones. So that helps out with background noise as well. So a lot of people asked this next question, which is, who are your favorite non-K-pop artists and what do you listen to besides K-pop? And at least right now, my 2 favorite non-K-pop artists are a J-pop artist called Real and a Western artist called Janelle Monáe. If you haven't noticed, my general taste in music are songs that are up in your face and fast-paced. And if I'm looking for a slower sound, I'll usually go into the R&B category. And these 2 artists that I just mentioned are exactly what I'm talking about. Every single song that Real puts out is so crazy and hectic, and the energy she just exudes is so infectious and really like boosts my spirits. And then Janelle Monáe is like half and half of this. Half of her discography is like upbeat, funky bops, and the other half is like smooth, sultry R&B. I would also say that these are the only 2 non-K-pop artists that I stan. I don't know much about Real in terms of like her as a person, but genuinely like all of her music is so good. There are very few skips in her discography. And Janelle Monáe, along with having just a pretty much flawless discography, she is one of the most outspoken and non-performative activist Western artists that I've ever heard of. And I don't know if anybody asked this, but if they did, she's probably my number 1 inspiration in terms of celebrities. So next up we have, where do you get motivation to make videos and where do you get your ideas from? And I guess I would just say it comes naturally to me. And I guess more what I'm trying to say is that it kind of comes hand in hand. Personally, I just love the video making process. It's really fun and engaging to me, so it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't feel tedious and I don't feel like it's a burden. And sometimes when I'm just like scrolling through Twitter or YouTube, or maybe just like at a random point in the day, an idea for a video will come in my head and just I'll immediately want to go to my computer and knock it out right away. Because I'll usually just randomly get an idea that seems really good in my head, and when I do, I'm like, wow, this is gonna be so great, let me do this as soon as possible so I can share my ideas to the world. Oh, okay, this next person did some food-related questions, so let me just do all of these real quick. Favorite ice cream flavor? Probably chocolate, but if they have like cotton candy, I'll usually go for that. Do you like mint chocolate ice cream or not? I think it's okay, it's very like mid-tier for me. I don't really love it or hate it. Does pineapple belong on a pizza? Yes. Do you cut spaghetti? Yes. Do you pour or dip most sauces? Dip. Do you prefer salty or sweet foods? I'm kind of like in the middle on that, honestly. Waffles or pancakes? I'm 100% adamant on pancakes. Favorite cake? Any kind of ice cream cake usually. Cookies or brownies? Brownies. If you could only eat one thing for a long time, what would it be? Maybe like chicken teriyaki? Best fast food? Probably just none of them, but if I had to pick one, maybe Wendy's? And I think that wraps up all the non-personal, non-K-pop related questions, so now we're going to go into the K-pop section. And the first question is, do you collect K-pop albums or photo cards? And I used to do albums. I bought a lot when I first became a stan, but nowadays I basically just buy all of Mcnd's merch and I leave it at that. How do you keep up with all of the songs that are coming out left and right? I go on the website K-Profiles and I look at the comeback schedule and I just listen to everything on there. If it's not on there, I don't listen to it. Unless someone suggests it to me, I usually just don't listen because I don't even know that it exists. Favorite CLC song? Devil or any of the B-sides on the No album. Favorite Victon song? Probably just What I Said, or maybe I'm Fine, that's what it's called. What song and group brought you into K-pop? So my first K-pop song was, I think, Her by Block B, or maybe Cheer Up by Twice, or Rollin' Outro by Brave Girls. It's a long story. Check out my podcast channel if you want to know more about that. But the first group that I learned all of the members was Twice, but what really got me like knees deep into K-pop was Mcnd, like no questions about that. Next we have your album of the year, and if we're talking mini albums, then it's easily Mcnd Age by Mcnd, but if we're doing full albums, then either Game Changer by Golden Child or Formula of Love by Twice. Song of the year, either Crush by Mcnd or Flipping a Coin by Billy. Artist of the year, Mcnd, like yes, I am genuinely this obsessed with them. Was 2021 a good year for K-pop? I thought it was pretty good, but I don't know, a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was fine though. Your alt bias besides Minjae, so it's either Lua from Weeky Meki or honestly Jungmo from Cravity. Some others would be like S-Coops from 17, aka Sungchul, Gaehyun from Verivery, and Kang Daniel. Thoughts on JYP and YG new girl groups and how their debuts will affect their older artists within the company. I think JYP is preparing himself for TWICE members to not renew their contracts, so he's debuting a new girl group. I don't think it's going to affect the amount of comebacks that, say, ITZY or Stray Kids have, though. And for YG, I mean, they don't give their artists comebacks in the first place, so I don't think a new group is really going to affect that. Next, we have who are your favorite K-tubers, and my two answers for that are Everglow Up and Vixxo, with a special shout out to Bubbly Blunt. I spend a lot of time making videos, so I don't really watch a lot of K-tubers, but if I do, it's easily going to be one of these three. I do have a few K-tube friends though who don't really upload that much, so I wouldn't say I watch them regularly. Actually, I guess Namjoon's Lost AirPods does post pretty regularly, so yeah, Namjoon's Lost AirPods. And then some of my other K-tuber friends are Chromally, It's Tail Time, and Sulgiology. Oh, I missed a non-K-pop related question, so I'll just answer that real quick. What do you like to do in your spare time? So I'm actually a pretty frequent walker slash jogger, and I really just do enjoy working out, but I don't have a gym membership. I usually just do it at home or outside, and I'm also sort of like self-teaching Korean right now on the website Talk to Me in Korean, and just like YouTube videos online. So someone asked, what's your favorite stage? And the only one I can really think of right now is the Rookie by Red Velvet stage, where Sulki's mic wasn't working, but then a worker ran onto stage with a handheld mic, and as soon as Sulki got it, she like started belting. You could really tell that she was singing live, and I thought it was really impressive. Next we have what's it like being a K-pop YouTuber, and do you have a goal? It's kind of fun, but it's also kind of scary because you can always receive really harsh backlash for very minute things. And I'd say my goal for next year is maybe hitting 20k. I don't know, that's just a rough estimate. Next we have, what is the most timeless K-pop song of all time in your opinion? And my answer for that is Naughty Boy by Pentagon. Next we have, how did you find out about Mcnd? And I think my answer for that is that Crush just came on my recommendations. I think I just clicked on it because Wood in the thumbnail was very eye-catching, and the rest is history. Oh, this one I got a lot. Why is Minjae your #1 ultimate bias? And my answer for that is that he's just really relatable to me. Fun fact, Minjae was actually the last member of Mcnd whose name I learned. It took me quite a bit, actually. This was back when it still took me a really long time to learn the names of group members, but after a while, he easily just became my favorite. Besides him having one of, if not the best stage presence out of all 4th gen idols, Minjae just seems extremely down to earth. I mean, for one, we're both 03-liners, we were only born 4 months apart, I'm 4 months ahead of him. Besides his obsession with Justin Bieber, we have really similar taste in music. He loves 80s, he loves 17, he loves EXO, Stray Kids, just like the list goes on, and he's just someone that I can really root for. I mean, why would I not want to see someone who's the same age as me, who has a similar story? I believe he wanted to be an athlete, specifically a soccer player at first, but then he realized he's way better at dancing. I wanted to be like an actor at first, but I realized I'm way better at just talking than I am at acting. I mean, I guess it's just pretty joy-giving to see someone succeed who's living a relatively like parallel life to yours. It's not necessarily inspiring, it's just sort of joy-giving to see someone who could easily be your classmate if you were born in different conditions do well in life. I mean, just besides that though, he's just pretty cute, and his group's discography is like flawless. And following up on that, we have, why is Mcnd your #1 group? And I guess it's sort of cheesy to say, but they kind of chose me instead of me choosing them. I mean, I thought about this recently, and I just genuinely do not care about any of the groups that I stan to the same degree that I do Mcnd, and I don't have the same desire to watch content, read fan cafe updates, hope to see them win awards as much as I do for Mcnd. I genuinely do not know the reason why, it's just I do not have the same level of care for any other group that I know. Oh, and I guess this will be a good place to wrap it up. Were you a boy group stan or a girl group stan at first? And this will actually be pretty surprising to you guys. I was a girl group only stan at first. I genuinely only listened to girl groups because none of the boy groups really caught my attention, but as soon as I listened to Mcnd, I was like, oh, I understand what all of the hype is about. After that, I just listened to so many different boy groups and girl groups. I became one of the biggest multis that I've ever seen, to be honest. And yeah, Mcnd were kind of like the gateway to me becoming a multi. And I guess that concludes this video. Once again, thank you all so much. I cannot believe that we've already hit 5k. It is mind-boggling to me. I hope that you all stick with me on this journey, I guess, that we're on, and hopefully together we can spread Mcnd world domination. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.